Welcome back to another episode of New Girl. Today's topic we're going to be getting into nurturing a nurturer. All right, so we're going to go ahead and introduce why we want to talk about this topic. I sent this to Toni that I seen on Facebook. It was a status about if you're a woman that has a nurturing spirit, it had a thread for you to follow, and there was different pointers in there on how you should like navigate certain things. And one of the ones that stood out the most to me was you have to stay away from people that are great at taking. Why? Your intentions are pure, and sometimes it's hard for you to understand when you are being used. Mhm. And then one of the other ones that I wanted to highlight is your sensitivity is a strength, not a weakness. Embrace your empathetic nature, but also learn to shield yourself from absorbing others' negativity. Your ability to understand and connect deeply with others is a gift.
Mm-hmm.
And I sent it over to Toni. Toni, which one stood out to you?
My biggest takeaway was you can't save everybody because that's me.
Mhm.
I feel like I've been trying to save people since I was a kid, and I just
Mhm.
realized that it's just who I am. My mom is a nurturer, my granny's a nurturer, and
Mhm.
so I was born into the nurturing realm, or I came from nurturers who
Mhm.
more than likely give more than what they get because that's
Mhm.
just who they are as well. So that definitely stood out to me. Just you can't save everybody.
Yeah. And that was like one of the things I think when we shot one of our recent episodes, I had to say something about like who you are personality wise. And I was like, she's like the mom to the group
Yes.
of all our friends because she's a natural nurturer. And I
Mhm.
think that I have like nurturing qualities due to the fact that I'm like the middle child and three of my other siblings were underneath me in the household. And so I just feel like some of those qualities came from taking care of other people. But when our recent episode, when we were talking about you describing my relationship, my last relationship, you were hitting at the fact about people asking for those type of spirits, and then when they get those people with those spirits and personalities, they abuse it. And so
Mhm.
this thread was very interesting, and your comment was very interesting because I had seen this thread that the advantage of being a nurturer is being able to relate to other people. One of my other best friends always described me as a person who knows how to appear to the masses. Ever since she told me that when we were in college, that was like something I always use. Like when people ask me to describe myself in interviews, I always use that word. She knows how to appear to the masses, but really it is how to become a safe space for people. And I think that becoming a safe space for someone is showing vulnerability, right? And so I told you all that I struggled with vulnerability. So once I learned how to be a little bit more expressive with my emotions and not feel bad about being emotional, I think that it allowed me to be more vulnerable and it created a more safe space for other people.
Mhm.
And I can honestly say with this dating life that does get taken advantage. It has gotten taken advantage of by certain people. And so in that post where they talk about being careful when you are, because people can poison your cup. They really can. And one of the things that I dealt with once I got over that phase after that relationship is trying to remove that poison.
Mhm.
Because you work so hard for someone like me who struggle with vulnerability. It took work. It took time to get there. And so when you meet someone that take advantage of that, you feel as if that hard work and everything was done for no reason at all. It was a waste. And so you start adapting back to the mindset that you previously came from. And
Mhm.
that's the poison. So when I read this thread, I was like, ooh, they're saying something in here because that was me. I was like, look, I haven't put my heart on my sleeve. I've tried, I've gave it all that I can give. And if you are someone who's viewing this and you can relate to some of the things that I'm saying, once the poison is removed, there is a better outlook. I told Toni recently in one of our phone conversations, I was like, whoever's next, baby, they're gonna be lucky because the way I just handled that with, I'm like, pat yourself on the back just a little bit, pat myself on the back a little bit, but you're gonna be lucky. And then also on top of that, I had to realize what I was idolizing
Mhm.
being 31, I'm like, oh, marriage. I'm in this whole marriage thing, and I wasn't a girl who grew up idolizing marriage. It's something about those societal pressures that
Mhm.
get to you when you're coming into your 30s that make you feel like I'm supposed to be married. Not necessarily like a mother, but I definitely told Toni when we were in Mexico that I do want to be married. And I didn't know how important that was to me until after that relationship because I was trying to hold on to it for so long and why. so idolizing marriage is something that I am trying to remove. I don't
Mhm.
want to idolize it. I feel like what if God see fit for me to be someone's wife, make it happen, God. I'm waiting. But me out here trying to do the work,
Mhm.
I'm done with it. I would still allow myself to go places and do this single best life in Atlanta as much as I can with this dating pool. But
Mhm.
as far as like trying to date and accept people's flaws and all, even when they're not deserving of it, that has to be a thing in the past.
Mhm.
So when I saw the thread, it just like
It was for
it
you,
was straight
girl.
there. It was for me, sis.
And you could to me, and it was for me too, because I've had some experiences where, like I said, I try to save everybody. And I had that situation in Hawaii with an individual, and she had a bad relationship
Mm,
going on. I wanted to save her, and it backfired. And so
mhm,
I realized then, which I should have realized a long time ago, but you can't save everybody because sometimes it actually backfires because you're trying so hard or you want so much for people who don't even
mhm,
want it for themselves. And so, for one, you're wasting your time because if someone can't see what you see in someone else and you're trying to warn them and keep them from harm and they choose not to, then you end up being the bad person for trying to save someone. And so, yeah, that one stood out to me when I read that. And I find myself doing that with family members or just people that I know. I'm like, I don't
mhm.
understand why they don't understand this. Like, it's just, it's simple. Just do this and do that. But of course, they don't want to be saved. So they're not going to
Yeah.
what I see. They're okay in their circumstances. They're okay being a victim to their own irresponsibility. And so me
Mhm.
to save them does nothing for me or them because they're not ready to be saved anyway. They want to be out there in that ocean flapping, screaming, acting like they want to be saved.
A
And
donkey.
are doing all this work. And I get there and they're like, just kidding. I was playing. Maybe next.
Mhm,
And wasting my time swimming out there trying to save them. So,
mhm,
as a nurturer, you have to realize you can't save everybody because a lot of these people, they don't even want to be saved. So,
mhm.
that's my biggest takeaway.
Don't know they want to be saved, or don't even know that they're in need of being saved.
Yeah, right. They're okay. And again, they're okay in their circumstances. So it's like, yeah, you're on the outside looking in, and they may appear that they need to be saved, but in reality, they're okay with what they have and what they're doing. And that ain't none of my business. That's something I had to learn.
So, being that you and I agree that we are nurturers to an extent, how do you feel about the one where they say your sensitivity is a strength, not a weakness? Embrace your empathetic nature, but also learn to shield yourself from absorbing others' negativity.
Mm. Is very accurate. I've never thought that my sensitivity was a weakness, but I can see how people do, right? Because we do
Mhm.
live in a society where people who tend to be sensitive are viewed as weak, right? Because they show emotion and they want to help people and they in society or specifically certain communities, I don't want to say just the Black community, that
Right.
as a weakness. However, I agree, it's not a weakness, and I'm glad that I've never viewed it as so. It's a strength because you do want to help people. It's a good quality and characteristic to have as a human, as a person. And I think it works better in the end when you are sensitive to certain things because you are more empathetic and understanding of other people's circumstances. However,
Mm.
you do have to shield yourself because sometimes you can be a little too sympathetic, too
Mhm.
understanding, too empathetic to where you are absorbing, like it said, that negative energy. So, just creating that boundary of knowing when you're doing too much or you're caring
Mhm.
too much. What you
Mhm. I was gonna say that I was the opposite. I did see sensitivity as a weakness, which is why I suffered from being able to express vulnerability for so long. Like when people got me there, it was like a reward for them. but I also had to realize it was rewarding for me because I did not have to put on a front. Like if something made me happy, I was happy. If something made me cry, it made me cry. And what we lose stress hormones when you let out tears. So I mean, I'm not out here crying at the drop of a dime. I mean, at the drop of a dime. But if I want to cry, I'm going to cry. And so, and I don't care who, views it a certain way. But I will say before I adapted this mindset that I was like, you know, mama ain't raised no. And from our community, we're Black, the Black community, we can go ahead and touch on that. It's taught from in the mother-daughter relationships, often we see that how they raise their daughters is sometimes with a strong will, most times with a strong will. And so I think that may be why. The most vulnerable that I've ever been is with my dad. My dad is my best friend, and he is the one of the male operating figures in my life. So I felt like I can run to him with my tears. And then with my mom, we can have those tough conversations, and she can black and white things for me. But I never um, let it outside the house. I never showed that to people that I was dating. I used to tell friends that are like lifelong friends right now when we first met, well, I don't really see the point of like us doing XYZ. Like, you're not going to be here forever. I was just like, you're here for a good time, not a long time. I was very insensitive. And so I just think that, reading this is like, it's rewarding because once you become empathetic to other people, you see the world differently. You have others who gravitate to you because of that quality. And I've met some awesome people. Like, I enjoy meeting people and connecting with them, even if it is for a short time. I think having that quality of sensitivity, vulnerability can really, really bring people into your life that's like amazing. They're attracted to that. And once you find out they share that as well, it's kind of like y'all pouring into each other. I think, Toni, that's what we do.
Yeah.
We are a testament
Mm-hmm.
to that. But I'm just talking about like outside of friendship, like people I probably don't even talk to today, but when I think of them, I have a fond memory. Even with people that I dated that done me wrong, even though we ended the way we ended, there's a memory that I have, that's fond because of a certain trait that I possess. Yeah, you took advantage of it and it was your loss, but what positivity did I truly gain from
Mm-hmm.
the situation just from having that trait, personality trait?
Yeah. I like how you brought that up because some people view things that have happened to them, negative things that have happened to them in a negative manner. And I always be like, I like to say, well, you had to learn something. Those
Mm-hmm.
things were negative. What did you get out of it? Or what did you learn about yourself? Because everything doesn't have to be negative all around, right? You have to go back and be able to think about what you were at least able to learn, even if you think, oh, it was all negative. Well, what you learn about yourself then? So you won't repeat the same behavior next time.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's always like a golden egg or, something comes out of every experience that we have, whether it's negative or not so fun or whatever it may be. So I'm glad you said that.
Okay. Any other points from that thread? I just highlighted the ones that stood out to me. If you all want to check it out, it's on Facebook, and if you want to see what all they post on there, you can type in if you are a woman that has a nurturing spirit. It has like what 15K shares on it, and read what the author put under there. Under each comment, there's like people responding and reviewing each of the topics. So very interesting if you're intrigued by it.
Which the one that stood out to me is self-care is non-negotiable. Remember to prioritize your own needs and happiness. This is a big one for me because again,
Mm-hmm.
I'm always trying to save people. I'm always trying to make sure everybody's straight. I'm always trying to get
Mm-hmm.
things in order. When I took my trip to San Antonio for 2 weeks for work, um, I literally cooked a whole meal. I baked 36 eggs and decorated them all before I caught my flight. Then I get to San Antonio and I'm like, can't even get out of bed the next day. And I
Mm.
report at 6 a.m. I didn't make it to the hotel until midnight. And I'm like, why did I do all that? Like the boys would have been okay. Marcus would have been okay. But I'm always trying to make sure everyone's straight. And then I forget about me. And it's a trait of a mother and a good mother. I mean, I don't want to step on,
Absolutely.
but like that's a trait of a good mother, prioritizing your children's needs or your family. However, self-care and worrying about your own self is just as important because a lot of times as a nurturer, as an empathetic person, you tend to put everyone else before you and you
Mhm.
neglect that you're human too. All that stuff you did for them, what are you gonna do for you? And what did that get you? So now you're tired, you're upset about something because you neglected yourself versus just remembering to take care of you as much as you take care of other people. That's the biggest takeaway for me, outside of not being able to save everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I struggled with that and I'm still trying to
Yeah.
remember that every day. And I tell my clients literally every day, you have to take care of yourself, self-care. And then I get off there and go take care of other people.
Let me tell you, as your friend, that is something I don't know if you ever noticed, but I think that's like one of the main things that I've ever noticed about you. If I ever had to pick a character, and I wouldn't even say a flaw, a characteristic about you, that is one. I remember when we went to Mexico. Toni is just she does self care, but she doesn't do it to an extent where it offers her a lot of longevity. It's just like, oh, it's just a little bit. And I know she's a mother, and I don't be like saying F them kids, but sometimes I be like, girl, we were somewhere hanging out with our friends, and I won't give too much, but we were hanging out with our friends, and she was tired. Me, we're closer. I talk to her all the time. I'm a little bit more insightful on what her everyday life is like in regards to like what all she has to do is her role and her responsibility. And so when it was time to go, I looked at her and I was like, "You ready? This person want to save everybody, the nurturer, looking, she's tired. I mean, sitting at we're in the middle of a club. She's sitting at the table like this. I'm up dancing. I look over, I see her. I was like, "You ready to go? I'm ready to go. Well, I don't want to leave such and such." I had to be that friend and say, "Put their stuff down on the table. Come on, we're gonna go." And so as we're walking out, the other friends noticed that we were leaving. They were like, "Wait," and it became like a little fire exchange. But I think like if I wasn't there, I truly do believe if I wasn't there and set that down, Toni would have stayed there. She
Yes.
would have neglected the fact that she was tired. And I'm like, she has a baby on her breast because Xavier was way younger. So she was still breastfeeding. She done flew to Mexico, left the boys at home. All these things going through my head. And I'm thinking, I don't think she thinks for a minute that she went through all that stuff. She's just on go mode. And
Yeah.
I'm like, girl, if you're tired, you got the right to go lay down. Like what we're doing here is not anything that we ain't never done before. We're not missing out on much. So I'm gonna be that friend. So let's walk back to the room. I'm gonna be the friend that's gonna take that heat when everybody get mad. I don't care. And let me tell you, when my friend got back to that room, baby girl was knocked out,
Knocked out.
snoring, mouth open. Needed to lay her butt down. And I'm just so happy to hear you say you're realizing it. Like no one can be, even the boys, even your husband, no one can be as good as they are without you making sure you're good as well. Like if you're going to be pouring and handling things as great as you've been handling, you got to do it from a high standard with yourself. Like I get it because I'm like I'm listening to you. I'm like, oh, she know. I'm glad that would just stick out there. Yep, I'm so glad self care is important, Toni.
Yeah. It took some time. Like I had to sit back and think, oh my God, I've been in survival mode. And people don't understand that
Yes.
just because your needs are met, you don't worry about financial things. And you know what I'm saying? Because they don't see that as survival mode. They're like, girl, what you gotta worry about? You don't
Right.
you're still in survival mode. I still have to get up, do these things. And even though I don't have to be in survival mode, it's something I'm learning to train my brain to come down from. Because I
Mhm.
feel like any person who has a baby, you should be in survival mode. You're trying to make sure I was gonna say things, make sure these little humans stay alive. But so
Mhm.
yeah, I was in survival mode. Xavier was what, 4 or 5 months. He was a
Mhm.
he was a small infant. And so yeah, I'm so happy you did that because you're right. I was like, I'm so ready to go, but I don't want to leave them. I want to be. I don't want to be.
You're right, because how are they going to find themselves back to the room? They're 30. We're on the resort. Bring your butt on.
Exactly. So yes, for the nurturers out there, get out of survival mode. Prioritize your needs. You cannot pour from an empty cup. And if you don't pour into yourself, just like you said, you can't pour into other people effectively. And so those people can't, take from you if you don't have anything to give. And so
Right.
take care of yourself.
And also don't be afraid to be vulnerable, to show sensitivity. That's
Mm,
my biggest
it should be.
takeaway. All right, sister girl. So we got the friendship deck again. We're gonna go ahead and pull our two cards. All right, so I'm pulling for you to answer for me. You already answered this one. I must have shuffled the cards good. Do you feel safe to be yourself in this friendship?
Oh yeah, that's so easy. I don't even. Yes, like I don't have any issues not being myself. We've been friends for so long, and I don't think I would still be your friend if I didn't, because it's draining to have to be someone else around
Mhm.
people. And so, like, why keep you around if I felt like I couldn't be me?
Right.
Like, because for me and Asia, we're alike but so different. It's so crazy.
Mhm.
She can go out, have fun, and do all these things, and I can stand there and be okay, and she'll be herself and I'm gonna be myself. Like, she doesn't be like, girl, do this, get drunk. She never pushes me to do more than what she know I'm gonna do. And will
Mhm.
yeah, will I do certain things? Yes, but then sometimes I'm just there, like, you having fun, and that's good. So
Yep. Hype
yeah,
me up. Pour me out.
I hype her up and I dance with her a little bit, and then she lets me just go back to being me. Whereas I be
Mhm.
around people, girl, you need a drink, and I'm like, but I don't drink for real. Like, yeah, I have a margarita or two, maybe, but I don't like being around people who want me to go out and act like somebody that I'm not, because
Absolutely.
it's not
And
me.
honestly, we're the same. I like to dance a little bit more.
Mhm.
I still twerk. Toni don't twerk, but she'll hype me up if I'm twerking.
Yes.
But we're kind of alike with the alcohol. We be
Mhm.
looking like, girl, we don't need that. We're the life of the party itself. Hell, the party is you and I. We're together. We don't be care about anybody else up in that room as long as I got my homie with me and we hyping it up. Put the music on,
It's
DJ. We got the rest. And
that
people, when we went to Vegas, it was just her and I. People start coming up to us and dancing with us, like, oh, they
is.
be over here.
It's so funny you said that because I'm thinking about Vegas and it was just me and you. Everybody had all these girls with them, all these.
Mhm,
It was me and Asia, and we
mhm,
had the time of our lives. So much so, people noticed, and they was
mhm.
like, "We hanging with y'all, and y'all, we met." And so crazy. The world is so small. End up meeting a group of women, and a few of them had graduated from FAMU and other HBCUs, and it's so crazy. And so just we were being ourselves, doing our thing, and attracted other people. It was the time of our lives. So
Yeah.
we
You
gotta go.
ready for yours?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to go back for sure. I wish I would have went when you went to see Usher. I don't know what I was thinking. I played those cards totally wrong.
Usher or
Did you see Usher? Oh, you went to see Bruno.
no girl, Silk Sonic.
Oh yeah, that's how Xavier was created. It
Yeah.
was Tiana who went to see Usher in Vegas.
Yeah.
Okay, you ready for yours?
Are there times you feel drained by our friendship? Explain.
No. I'm trying to think like before 30, did I ever feel that way? Mm, like it's a needed relationship? Like when
Hmm,
they say journey?
I think so.
Not that any that I can recall.
Mhm.
Well, I don't know what you would have done to drain me. um, as of right now, no. I would have to conjure up something if there is something to conjure. But no, I'm just gonna say no because I can't think of one off the rip. I feel like he drained me. Mm-mm. But I feel like I drained you with some of the stuff that I used to take you through that, Toni.
No,
Not even to the bad point, but good
and
Lord.
I'm just like, so like, I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. And then I can move on to where I
Mm-hmm.
think this last thing you went through was draining because I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
you are better than this. Like
You
that.
saw what I couldn't see.
And I saw what you couldn't see, and that's just who I am, right? Because I sit back, I observe, and then I know a lot about mental health, and so behaviors and actions and nonverbal communication. I pay attention
Mm-hmm.
to it no matter what. That's draining in itself. It has nothing to do
Mm-hmm.
because I do that everywhere I go. But anyways, that last situation was draining because I'm like, oh my God, you are better than this. And but people have to go through things, and I learned from that too, because if you didn't go through that, you wouldn't know what you know now. And
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, that's life. Like
Mm-hmm.
all gone through things that we had to become the individuals that we are today. And so, unfortunately, you went through some things that weren't ideal, but it made you a better person.
Right.
If you
Right.
had experienced that, there were some things that you probably would have never known about you. So
No.
yeah, and so that's my soapbox. But yet that was draining because I'm like, you know better, but I also know what you want, what you're looking for, and I can understand why you allow
Mm-hmm.
things to happen now, right? Because I had to do some self-reflection myself because I'm like, girl, I don't know why she feel this. Talking to myself like she know better than that, or she should have did. And then I'm like, she had to learn, and it's nothing I can do about it because I'm
Mm-hmm.
too. So
Right.
yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, that was good. So we put our two questions from the friendship deck, and so now it's story time. That story time that you. Every time I laugh at you, I gotta hide my mouth because baby, I be over here grinning like Chuck E. Cheese over here. But I'm gonna let you start that off because when you said it yesterday, I was like, oh, she want to tell that you bold. You feeling really bold on April? Is it because your birthday is coming up?
I gotta stand in my truth. No, did you see my post on Instagram? No, Facebook. I don't even get on Instagram. On Facebook about I said unpopular opinion, Usher's halftime show was trash. Girl, they tried to eat me up in them comments.
You knew what you was doing. You was trolling.
It was trash.
I honestly can't remember it, so it had to be trash.
You gotta go read the comments. Girl, they were hurt. I'm like,
But I
y'all,
want to see him so bad.
I want to see him too, but I mean, he could have done
I
better.
just
But
want to dance and sway and all
yeah,
of that I do when I hear his music.
be able to get a ticket though. It's still he had so many locations, but yeah, they
Tell
just
this story,
wait,
girl.
wait, let me say I said that because I told somebody in the comments like I'm standing in my truth. Because they was like, girl, why are you saying this? That was 2 months ago. Because I feel like it. And
Because
so
it's April. My birthday coming up
you
and
know,
I do what I want. You on your birthday behavior all month.
yes. So okay, I in college. And so, clearly me and Asia been ride or die. We support each other even when we shouldn't have. But as friends and as young women at the time, in certain times we're just like, it may be wrong, but this is my friend and I'm gonna stick beside her. So and that's okay.
Not as much discernment at that time.
You know what? I'm glad you said that because clearly, yeah, based on story time from that last episode. One evening I was upset and I was like, listen, he made me mad and I want to do something about it. She like, what you want to do about it? I want to egg his car. We just like, you have something to say before I
Yes. First of all, you gotta scope the scene out because this girl had a car. This was freshman year, right?
yes.
This was our freshman year. She had a car. I didn't have a car. I lived on campus at the on-campus apartments. She had a apartment near the campus. It
Mhm.
was known for that. So
Right.
we at her house, and she just had an epiphany on what she wanted to do that night. And so we hopped in Tinkerbell. Remember, my car was called Goldie. Her car was called Tinkerbell. R.I.P. Tinkerbell.
Yeah.
And two-door Honda
Mhm.
Civic.
Yeah.
We hopped the Tinkerbell and hit the town, didn't we? We drove across town.
Mhm. We sure did. We drove across town for this.
Mm-hmm. Pulled up. Now you go ahead.
Yeah, we
Tell
pulled
everybody what you did do.
exactly. Here I am, the nurturer. After I was so hyped up and so
Mm-hmm.
upset and felt like he was so deserving of his car being egged. I get there. I mean, and so let's be honest. Wasn't Tony in the car too? It was me, you, and
Yes.
it was Kitty in there too.
No, it was Tony in the car, and remember, Tony had food stamps. We used his stamps
To go
to go
get
to the store to buy the eggs.
because he was cool. He was a friend. I met him freshman year, and he was just a very down to earth guy. And
Mm-hmm.
he was just like, "Yeah, friend, let's do it. Forget him. He shouldn't have did all that." He was down. We stopped at the store. He stamped, got them eggs, and I hope Tony. I hope you're out there doing well. I
He
haven't.
is.
Is
I see
he?
them on Facebook.
Oh, good. I haven't seen him since like junior year of college. I haven't seen him, and so
Mm-hmm.
Tony was hype. Asia was hype. We get there to Seminoles Suites, get through the gate.
Drive to the apartment complex. I'm setting the scene for y'all. I'm on the passenger. She on the driver. Tony in the back. It's a coupe, so Tony just in the back.
Yeah.
I pressed the button on the window. I look like old dude in Boys in the Hood before he popped the fire. I let that thing down. I'm eyeballing the car like, yeah, that's the one we about to get. Here she go. The nurture. Wait, Asia. I looked at her like, so we done went and bought all these eggs. Cause she can't even throw one.
I couldn't even throw the egg. Oh my God. Like, so all that. It was a good night. I had two of my supporters with me at the time, and it was still fun. But I also got there and was like, let me be reasonable and rational. I guess
She
the
did.
joyriding that we did, and I got there and I'm like, I feel better now. Maybe I just needed a night to laugh and be happy with people who could do that for me. And so got there, didn't throw not one egg. We just
And I
drove.
know y'all probably asking yourselves, well, what happened with all the eggs? Didn't we take them back and what did we do with them eggs? Then wasn't some people hanging out at the apartment complex in the parking lot or something? We was throwing them.
I can't
I
remember.
can't remember. I
I
just know when we came back, it was because her apartment complex, everybody and their mama pretty much lived there. They didn't live on campus. I want to say it was a bunch of people outside. I don't know what happened with the eggs. I know we didn't cook them and eat them.
you definitely didn't throw them at that car, at that red
uh-uh.
Mustang.
Yes, that girl right there on that screen. Boy, I tell you, I looked at her like, are you serious?
We
And
drove.
me just being a good friend and knowing her already was like, I honestly would have been shocked if she saw it through. That would have been more like a, oh, it wasn't even a, oh, that she went over there and changed her mind. It was like, oh, yeah, I should have known.
Yeah.
But I just couldn't believe it because the effort that we went through to get to that point,
The
couldn't
hype,
throw it.
the excitement, the journey over there. Tallahassee is small, but it was late. It was at least what a 15-minute drive, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Pulled up and scoped the scene
that's
out.
all. Didn't do nothing. I said, no, it's okay. Like, I don't want to do it anymore. And we just
Yeah.
turned around and
She's
drove.
like, because I'm going to feel bad about it. He's going to be pissed and I'm going to feel bad about it. And I said, okay, well, let's go. Did throw that one egg. That girl funny.
So yes, that is story time. I will let me say this. Sometimes when you get upset, y'all, sometimes you just need to, you know, take a ride, laugh with your friends, and realize that whatever you're gonna do out of anger is not even worth it. And so I hope that y'all take away from the story because the consequences wouldn't even been worth all of that.
No, no, it definitely wouldn't have been.
Yeah.
We had way too much to lose, but I can't speak because I'm still learning, still learning that like how to take the high road and stay there. But other than that, that concludes this episode. So if you made it this far in the video, go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe to New Growth, and stay tuned for the next one. Peace out.